everybody. So this will be the first episode of my tube cast that I like to call Theoracy. And basically here what we're gonna do is we're gonna be how can I say it, concentrated on different conspiracy theories, how these theories are true, basically come up with our own theories based on the facts that we see around us, okay? And I would like this to be a general discussion, a conversation for all people, okay? Sorry about that, people. I had to clean my glasses off. I can barely even see. But what we're going to do today is we're not here to say what we're saying is facts, because we know it's not going to be an actual fact. But it's here to get us thinking based on what we see, based on the evidence that's around us. What can we say is real and not real? You see what I'm saying? Because basically a theory is just taking facts that exist and coming up with a possibility of something happening or being. Like, for example, any scientists know the different, scientific theory, anything like that. But it's basically us just questioning our own universe, questioning our own existence, questioning our own world. And we're trying to see basically where we're coming from on that. You know what I'm saying? We're trying to define ourselves as human beings and as part of the human race and things like that. And basically, it's our way of trying to, I guess, define ourselves, whether it's spiritually, mentally, whether you're atheist, whether you're Protestant, Baptist, whether you're a Zionist, whether you're a Buddhist, whether you're a Muslim or anything like that. This is just I want this to be a safe place for everybody to just come up with their ideas and theories and have a respectful discussion about them. I don't want people to, be here attacking each other, calling each other stupid or none. The conspiracy community gets enough of that already. So we're not here to come up with conspiracy theories that's like outlandish. We want something that's at least based on some type of actual factual data that we can see and that we can show others, or it can, based on something that we can replicate. Okay, so for the first episode of this tube cast, I don't even know if that's trademark, but you probably heard it from me first. I don't know if anybody else has said tube cast. And it's time, date, and stamp, so I said it first. Okay, if it's not said already. What I want to do is I want to start off with, let's say, the lizard people. Everybody know who David Icke is. David Icke is this guy that he's about 70 years old. He used to be a footballer, sportscaster, but now he's going around, he's writing these books and he's telling how certain people are lizard men and Illuminati is lizard men and this and that type of stuff. And Illuminati is something I really want to get into in the future. Maybe I'll do a part 2 to this, which will be a second episode. But what I really want to focus on is the lizard man conspiracy. Now, if we look at certain things and think about certain things, there may be some fact to it, but it's probably not to the extent that he's putting it out there. Okay, it's probably to a certain extent, to a certain point in which I don't quite. I haven't read too much of his books, so I don't quite know where his angle is. It's just that I've been hearing a lot of this conspiracy. So I want to, based off of what I've seen in some research, come up with my own theories about it. Okay, and like I said, this is Theoracy. So I'll come up with my theories, and then you can come up with your theories, and we can kind of share information together with each other and stuff like that. My theory is that when we start from the beginning, okay, when we start to talk about the earth and how the earth used to be, how the earth was formed and the atmosphere and stuff like that. We need to start going back to the beginning. How was the Earth before the asteroid just took out most of everything? And if we look at it, and like I said, this is just theory. What if the Earth was tropical? Just all tropical, right? Now, there are some scientists that actually say that the Earth used to be tropical. Because when we think about it, dinosaurs are just giant lizards. Some of the dinosaurs actually have hair on them like mammals. But at the end of the day, due to their system, I almost said in the current system, that sounds weird. But due to their body and their functions and stuff like that, they are still, can be classified as lizards. Now, here's my theory. What if, and this is a big if, what if this planet was filled with nothing but reptiles, right? What if this planet was filled with nothing but reptiles? What if we got to that point where it was filled with, just reptiles, right? And what if there were humanoid reptiles? Let's look at it like this. You have Earth, and you have Earth as this giant green ball. Basically, the Earth is tropical. Because you got Pangea, you got this whole entire big, large continent that's surrounded by a whole bunch of water. Kind of similar to the One Piece world. And with you having it that way, what if, like, say for instance, there were lizard men, people, bipedals who evolved into a walking upright or something like that. Or maybe we're already here. Remember, this planet used to be, very tropical. Now, let's say that, how can I put this? Let's say that in this tropical island, right, you had, it just, how can I put this? You had a group of, we're going to call them aliens. Because aliens, they're foreign to the planet, all right? And some people call them Anunnaki, okay? And what if these beings came from Sirius B, came here to this planet, seen it was tropical, met bipedal reptilians, and some of them mated with those reptilians, which is where you get your giants and stuff like that from. Because if you look at the Bible, and I'm not saying this is what it is, but if you look at the Bible, we can look at the Anunnaki as the angels and the lizard as the men, the ones who was here on this planet beforehand. See, people think that when this earth was created, we just look like this automatically, right? You got a lot of people thinking that. But that could not be even further from the truth than what it really already is in the reality. It could have been that you had a bunch of people on this planet who were basically lizard men, right? And these lizard men could have had, laid with the Anunnaki, which is where you get your giants and stuff like that from, okay? So when they say how blacks are the original people, maybe blacks are direct descendants of the Anunnaki, but the originators on this planet was probably the reptilian men, which is the reason why when you get into talking about these secret societies and all that stuff and stuff like that, it's like, oh, they're all lizard people and this and that. Maybe they're fighting a secret war behind the scenes to win their planet back because of it being taken from them. Maybe that's the reason why when you look at it as the black race has been treated a certain way for all these years, is because basically maybe we are the intruders. Like, I'm just saying, that's theory. So if we're direct descendants of the Anunnaki, then maybe it's because of some other Anunnaki that we're descended from. We were processed a different way, different from those who are the lizard men, right? Which is the reason why there's certain races that can be able to handle tropical weather, humidity, and stuff like that more than other races. Uh, Also, and like I said, this is just a theory. It's too much to consider when we talk about this, because we got to talk about the different races and stuff like that and how they evolved over millions of years. But that's just one theory of mine, is that maybe lizard men were already here, and when the Anunnaki came, they laid with some of those lizard men. Now, let's talk about the way the Earth's environment changed and basically caused the lizard men to have to evolve, but also as well extinct the dinosaurs. Now, this is my theory. My theory is, say for instance, the Anunnaki came here. The environment wasn't to their liking, right? So, what's the Anunnaki gonna do? Terraform. So maybe the so-called asteroid event that ended the dinosaurs was nothing but a terraform machine, right? That messed up the Earth's outer layer. Because, okay, let's put it like this. Let's say, for instance, in the beginning you had the Earth, right? Now, there are some contextual context in which they say there was a thin layer of water that surrounded the Earth. This is before the flood. So let's connect it all together. So you got the Earth, which is a tropical rainforest for dinosaurs and lizard men, right? And this certain habitat, this humidified habitat. And what was keeping these creatures living long on this planet and living well on this planet was a thin layer of water that was blocking out most of the radiation from the sun. It was soaking in the solar rays, the solar radiation, which caused the half-life of cells to be longer than they currently are, which is the reason why we hear in the Bible about how people were living longer back then, and then after the flood, the years of life dramatically decreased. That's because more radiation was entering the atmosphere, entering our cells, and decreased the half-life of those cells, which caused us to actually have to replicate cells faster, which actually shortened our lifespan compared to where the cells replicated slower, which caused us to have a longer lifespan. Like I said, this is just theory. So what if that event in which Anunnaki came here and tried to terraform the Earth after they laid with the lizard man like they weren't supposed to? Like, some of them broke the rules and laid with the lizard man, which is what they call, the fallen angels. Maybe these angels are, beings from another planet, right? Because you already see in some of the ancient, Medunetter texts or hieroglyphs, whatever you want to call it, maybe these saucer shaped things and drawings that they made was the Anunnaki who came here. You know what I'm saying? And so when we look at it that way, when they try to terraform the Earth, all right, when they try to terraform the Earth, maybe what happened was this big machine came down, boom, hit on the planet, kicked up a bunch of dust, and they try to use this terraform machine. Now, as they're trying to terraform the Earth, what happened is they messed up, and they messed with that outer ozone layer, right? Well, not ozone layer, but they messed with the outer zone layer of the Earth, and that's what caused this thin firmament of water to rain on the Earth and flood the entire Earth. Now, it could have been an asteroid that actually killed out the dinosaurs, but let's think about this. This asteroid would have to be extremely huge to cover an entire planet, even if the planet was all just one big landmass. This thing had to be huge to basically cover the entire planet in dust and keep the sunlight from coming in and kill off the dinosaurs. But then we wonder, why is it that some animals managed to survive and some didn't? So here's my theory, because we going to put it all together now. I know I'm confusing you. I'm confusing myself because there's so much to think about. Okay, let's start. Let's see if we can try to start in order again. Okay, yeah, the Earth is tropical, right? Reptilian-like, right? And the reptilian men are living with the dinosaurs, right? Anunnaki come here. They try to terraform the Earth. They messed up terraforming the Earth, and what happens is it causes a massive flood. That outer layer of water that kept the majority of the radiation from coming into the Earth and having these beings live longer gets destroyed, floods the Earth, right? Now, as the Earth, right before the Earth floods, the Anunnaki could have took several animals onto an ark, right? And raised that ark above the Earth and allow the Earth to flood. Now, the dinosaurs at the time would have been too big to put on that ark compared to the other animals, which is the reason why the dinosaurs died out, because they didn't die because the asteroid blocked out the sun. They died because they drowned in the flood. Now, here's the thing. Dinosaurs still exist to this day, because when you think about it, there are dinosaurs that are down deep in the ocean, hundreds, maybe even thousands of feet, and sitting there living under this humongous amounts of thousands of pounds of pressure because they adapted. You don't want to go up against that. You know, Cthulhu probably sitting down there waiting to, to come in, and then we hitting him with missiles and nuclear weapons. They're not doing anything because his skin is so hard because he's so used to the pressure down there. It's like, oh, that tickled, But anyways, so as the layer gets destroyed, now more radiation is coming into the Earth. Now that more radiation caused this water to start to evaporate, right? And so within 150 days, you're starting to see land masses coming back to top of mountains and stuff like that. Okay, now this coincides with what's said in the Bible and in other cultures about there being a flood. That could have been how the flood happened. Now, the Anunnaki didn't want to make the same mistake again. So once the Earth got back to where it was, what they did was they took samples of the lizard men and samples of the other species, and they made the 12 original tribes of races on Earth, and they put them on the planet to restart it anew, to repopulate the planet anew. Now here's the thing, they didn't have the extended lifespan they had before, because remember, the Anunnaki trying to terraform the Earth, like I said, this is all theory, I'm not saying this is fact, trying to terraform the Earth basically destroyed that layer that kept most of the radiation from the sun out. And that's the reason why the lifespans of beings on Earth got shorter and shorter and shorter, because now they're feeding more direct radiation than what they used to. Okay? And so you got the original 12 tribes of people who the Anunnaki had start in Africa, because remember, Africa has a higher playing level than all other continents. Okay? And so that's where we say life originated from, because of after the flood, the new life started in Africa after an Anunnaki created the original 12 tribes to live on this planet. And then they left. And an Anunnaki, after they left, they've been watching for several 100,000 years our evolution based off the original 12 tribes that come from Africa. Okay, I don't know why this is the number 12, but I'm just saying that's a theory. Okay, now the first of these people to be, and like I said, this is theory. Now, the first of these people to come about is nicknamed, has a certain name which we derive Adam from, right? Now, there could have been a female that was experimentally created, but she didn't go according to plan, so they had to create another woman instead. Because here's the thing, we could have had, our ancestors could have had a different reproduction process than what we have now, which is the reason why we have Eve as the mother of all, because she is the first out of the new beings on earth to actually give birth. So I'm thinking, theory wise, the story of the flood is actually flip flopped, right? The flood probably happened before our ancestors arrived, right? And that's the reason why gradually over the years we went from living thousands of years to just a few hundred years, because as that zone is gone, more and more radiation starts to enter the earth, cause, some type of greenhouse effect, right? Now, here's another thing that I know that some outside forces are interfering with this planet. If you look at this planet, right, a few thousand years ago we had what's called an ice age. What if the reason why that ice age started is because the Anunnaki came back and tried to repair the ozone layer, right, by trying to keep as much radiation from coming into the ozone as possible, but they didn't do it correctly, and it ended out dropping temperatures on the earth severely, causing the ice age, right? So the planet's not warm as it used to be. It's not tropical as it used to be. It's getting cooler and cooler and cooler. And they think this is the way in order to repair the damage that's been done to ourselves from the extra radiation coming in. But they probably didn't do it right. So what's happening is that the earth is getting super cooled. And then getting super cool with most of that moisture in the air at the time, after dealing with the evaporation from the flood. And like I said, this is theory. It probably would cause that first ice age. You know what I'm saying? To where the ice froze over. Now, during this ice age, our ancestors had to adapt again, right? Now, you have the majority of the world in the ice age. Everything near the equator is colder, but it's not to the point of where it is near the poles. So those people who were near those poles, they had to evolve in order to deal with that type of weather. We're going to get into that later because that's a sensitive topic, and I know some people would get mad if I start getting into that, but I want to see how this goes before we get into that. But like I said, this is all theory, okay? Because we already know every single culture and race, they have a flood story that's talked about. Some have it to where the flood happened earlier. Some have it to where the flood happened later. Okay. So like I said, these are, theories. And so the lizard men, the ones who running things behind the scenes, the one they call the Illuminati, which that's not even really their real name. What if it's that they are the originators of this planet? They're the original. It's like this. I don't know if you watch One Piece or not out there, but if you watch One Piece, you know what I'm talking about. There's a group of people called the Celestial Dragons who think themselves a god. They're descendants of the original 20 kings, right? Who founded the world government. I hope I got that right. I haven't watched One Piece in a while. But they think they run everything, right? They're seen as gods, right? And they see themselves as gods because they feel that their parents are the originators of the current societal system that exists within One Piece, which gives them the right to do anything that they want, right? It's the same thing with these lizard men. They probably feel that their original ancestors, who were the originators of this planet, okay, who they're descended from, they feel like this planet is actually theirs, right? Now, the Anunnaki who left and watched from a distance left their children here. Africans could be descendants of those children, which is the reason why, when you look at it, and the different cultures, the majority of the slaves were African. You know what I'm saying? Now, there were slaves all around the world. Like, almost every race has been slaves. Like, let's be real. Okay? It's not just Africans or black people who have been slaves. Every single race has had slaves at one point or another. But the majority also had indentured servants. There's a difference between the two. Because indentured servitude, you serve it out for a certain sentence, and then once you're done with that, you're free again. Where slaves, you have no will, you have no freedom, you have no voice, you have nothing. So these people, they think that they are holy and that the world needs to be controlled. Why? Because they see the world as being mentally weak, and it's like they see society as being too weak for them to rule themselves. You see what I'm saying? I'm not gonna get deep into it, and there's a reason why I'm not gonna get deep into it. Is because of the simple fact that how can I put this? It's for the simple fact that I'm gonna talk about that when I talk about secret societies and stuff like that. But let me know down in the comments below what you think about that theory. Like I said, it's just a theory. I probably got some of the stuff mixed around and confused and stuff like that. But we gotta think about it. We gotta look at it. What if all these things, see, everything comes from one truth. So what if that truth has been split in different ways to confuse people, right? And so what if the flood story is true? All this other stuff is true, right? Okay? And we can try to get into the coming of Christ, but that's kind of a little later on. You know, I'm kind of cover that a little bit later on. But let me know down in the comments below. If you'd like to see this type of stuff, just let me know. Where we can get together and discuss different theories and stuff like that. But like I said, this is Theoracy. And I just want to say, hey, be careful because they're watching you.